How are we all doing then, people? Right, so today we're going to be looking at the Powkiddy V90, but in a different capacity. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that a friend suggested that I basically get a spare SD card and download the custom firmware onto it. That way it didn't interrupt the videos I've been showing you guys of the device straight out of the box. I wanted to do them without the tweaking. So a friend suggested, well, you know, why don't you get a spare SD card and just put it on now? And that friend is Wummle Gaming. So if you haven't checked out his channel, go over and check him out. I'll put a link in the description below. And yeah, so I didn't think of it. I don't know why I didn't think of it. So I got an SD card, as I explained in previous pickups. And I put the custom firmware on there, dropped some ROMs, and I've basically put more ROMs than the device originally has onto that chip. And yeah, I've been playing it, and I thought, well, I'm going to record a video just to show you guys what the performance is like, what you get with the custom firmware, you know, like how it looks, etc., and all that sort of stuff. So that's what we're going to do. So the next part you're going to see will be some gameplay and me showing you the custom firmware. Right, okay, here we go. Here's the new custom firmware. It's just checking for a FAT32 partition, as you can see in the corner of the screen there. Now, one thing you'll notice is it takes a little bit longer booting up at this point, but then once it's into it, the system's a lot quicker going through the different emulators. Now, this part I like, it reminds you of the original Game Boy. So you can do your basic up and down like you do on all the other versions to go through the menus. Right, now we're going into R-Type here, and as you can see we've got this like bezel going around the screen, which is no good for what we want. It's making the actual screen way too small. So I'm going into the settings here to try and adjust it. Only I'm thinking DMG border, it's got to be that. So I go in, turn it off, border's gone, but it's still not changed the size of the screen. So it's like, right, okay, something else has to be changed here then to sort this out. Go back into settings. I'm thinking, no, it can't be the border, I did that before. I'd already done this before on a game, but couldn't remember how I'd done it, so, and now it's put it back on. So I'm thinking it's definitely, I'm sure it's definitely in system, because it's not in controls. But the good thing is you can see all the things you can do on this. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's scalar. And there we go. So if you do have this issue after you've put your software on, that's how you fix it. And as you can see, it looks really good on this screen. I'm pretty certain you can adjust it so that it comes out more like the Game Boy Color. You know, like you get on the Game Boy mods, where you can adjust it so that you do get some colour to it. But I thought for this, I'll just leave it the original Game Boy look. As you can see, I'm doing terrible on this. Crashed into the ground at that point. Right, so we hit the menu, come out, let's have a look for something else. Now I'm just going to go through and show you all the different emulators on there. Because the good thing with this custom firmware now is that you can put things like Amstrad, Spectrum, Commodore 64, Amiga, which weren't on the original one. Got DOS box, I don't think that was on there either. So there's a lot of other options you didn't have before. And I do like the way you get the little picture come up on the right as well. I just think this looks much better when you're going through the menu. Right, so we're going to Mega Drive. I thought let's call up a game that I've already tested out on the other firmware that I know works and see how it runs on this one. Here we go, a bit of Streets of Rage. So here I'm trying out the buttons to find out which one's which, and I accidentally knocked the special move. Typical. So as you can see, it's running very well, no problems at all. Normal speed, don't seem to be any graphical issues. Not that I'd expect there to be. I mean, Sega, you know, when it comes to Master System, Game Gear, Mega Drive, you very rarely do have issues when you're emulating it. It's the later stuff you have the problems with, really. Sounds fine as well. I just thought, you know, we'd go through the first level just to see how it is. In a minute, I think I'll do it the special again once I've died, just to make sure that the buttons are all working fine as well. There we go. Yep, and as you can see, no problems there. I wanted to try that out just to make sure, because obviously the screen's quite busy there, so if there was going to be an issue, it would be there. But yeah, no issues at all. Do like my Streets of Rage games. I'm also a big fan of Streets of Rage 4. I thought they'd done a really good job with that. If you haven't played Streets of Rage 4, you really should. Great game. In fact, me and my youngest completed it the first night we got it. We nearly completed this one together as well. I've done it before, but Connor hasn't, so we got very close. Ooh, got clobbered there. There we go, special move coming up. This game is actually quite fun to play on this device. It's a lot more fun when you haven't got a tripod in the way though. Trying to get your thumb onto the buttons is a bit difficult when you've got something in the way. You've got to put your arms around it. It's a lot more fun when you're not doing a video. Right, so we quit out of that. Right, so we're going to go into Super Nintendo or SNES. And the game I'm looking at is quite a way down. As you can see at the moment, I'm using the down button. But you'll notice in a minute I switch to the right button. And as you can see now, it skips down each letter pretty much. And of course the game I'm looking for is F-Zero, because on the original software that comes on it, there was a massive issue with this game. I actually ended up feeling quite sick because it was horrible. It was skitchy and jumping around all over the place. So I thought, well, let's test it out on this and see how well it runs. And this is considerably better, as you can see. Running perfectly fine. I do like the game F-Zero, and this is one of them games that Nintendo have really dropped the ball on, if I'm honest, because how have we not seen a version of this come out on the Switch? It's really something that they need to look at. It should really have a new version of this now, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy playing this version, but who wouldn't like a more up-to-date version of F-Zero? So yeah, as you can see, it sounds good, it looks good. There's no graphical glitches, no stuttering like I had before, it's just running. Which is really good, because this was one of them that really suffered on the other software. As you can see, that's not an issue on this one. Yeah, really good. And it controls a lot better as well. On the other software that was previously on it, even the controls were terrible on it. You know, you'd steer just slightly and you was bouncing off of everything. And I say that just as I bounced off a barrier there. That wasn't me, that was someone hitting me there. So I realised that this, you know, each race has a lot of laps to it, so I don't race the full race, otherwise this video would end up ridiculously long. So I do cut it short in the middle and a bit, but I wasn't doing too bad, which is a testament to how much better this is compared to the version I had on the other software. Right, so this is me coming out of it now. I thought, right, well, what can we try now that's really going to test this? I thought, well, there's only one game that also gave us a couple of problems. And you'll probably get the gist of it when you see me moving the thing down the screen. And I've gone past it. And of course it's Super Mario Kart. Now this one gave me less problems on the other software than F-Zero did. So I thought, well, let's give it a go, see how it runs on this. Because you'd think, well, if that F-Zero's working on this, this must run fine on this. We shall see. Right, so the first thing you'll notice is that the music is very slow. And so is the gameplay. Yeah, it's running ridiculously slow. So in a minute what you'll see is you'll see me go into the menu and start messing around with the frame skipping, etc. So it's set on auto frame skip at the moment, so I adjust it. That comes in a minute. Yeah. So we adjust it. I think I put it up to 10 maybe. And it doesn't seem to be cutting it at all. I just realised then for some reason it put it down to 1 instead of 10 like I wanted. Put it back to max 3 and I thought, right, okay, so let's turn off the auto and let's adjust it manually and see if that helps. So I start adjusting it and it doesn't really help. It's still pretty bad. So there probably is a better way to do it. I'll probably, you know, it now looks like it's stuttering quite a bit, you know. So in some ways it's made it worse. So there's probably a better way of doing it. I'll have to have a better look at it, tweak it, see what I can do with it. There's probably something else I can adjust that will probably help sort this problem out. But if any of you guys have actually had this problem with this software, let me know in the description below. Right, so you would have seen the gameplay or device custom firmware. So basically, as you can see, it looks a lot cleaner looking. The way you go through the menu, I actually prefer that. You know, it's all nice and colourful. The menu looks quite professional looking. And obviously, as you would have seen on there, I thought, well, let's go in and see what this, you know, if it's improved anything. So I put Streets of Rage on. I mean, that wasn't a problem on the old one, but I thought, well, let's try a game that we know was fine on the previous firmware. Let's try it, check it's no worse. You know, let's make sure it's fine, the same as before. And as you saw, it ran fine. And then I thought, well, let's have a look at the ones that weren't running so great on the other firmware. And F-Zero, I'm delighted to say, was a hell of a lot better. I didn't feel nauseous like I did the last time I played it on the previous firmware. Yeah, that ran perfectly fine. Yeah, I was quite impressed with that. However, I thought after that, well, let's try the other one that wasn't quite as bad on the other firmware. Let's see what it's like on this. And that was, of course, Super Mario Kart. And my God, that was bad. Hell of a lot of slowdown. And it didn't seem to matter how much I adjusted the frame skipping and that, it didn't improve. I dare say there's probably more tweaks I can do to it, but obviously for the sake of the video, I thought, well, I don't want to be messing around on it for too long. It'll, it'll ruin the video. But also you would have seen me looking at some of the menu, and you'll notice like the load state, the save state, all that sort of stuff. But you would have also seen when I loaded up the Game Boy game, R-Type, you would have noticed that it had like a Game Boy sort of bezel around it, which is fine if you had it on a full screen, if you like, but when you got it on a tiny little screen like this, that's not a lot of help because it makes it very small in the middle. So yeah, you would have seen I went into the settings and I couldn't remember how I turned it off last time, and that's why you see me playing around a bit. And eventually I find, yes, that's how you do it, and I turn it off and it goes full screen. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can play around with. I mean, the Game Boy bit that goes round it, it looks nice, it does. It's just a shame that you can't hook this up to a TV, because if you could, that would look perfect on the TV screen. But when you're on a little tiny like device like this with a tiny little screen, it's no help when you've only got like less than half the screen. So yeah, probably a quarter of the size when you look at the little window of the game in it. Yeah, so not much help when it comes to that. But yeah, other than that, I mean, you seem to be able to adjust a lot more. There's a lot more things in the settings that you can play around with. Also, I found that it seemed to be a bit quicker than the firmware before as well, which is a good thing. That's what you want. So yeah, so very happy with that. I'm quite impressed. Just a shame that I couldn't get Super Mario to work, but I dare say if I mess around with it a bit, I'll get that there. So yeah, so if you have enjoyed this video, guys, please like, share and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so that you're made aware of all our future uploads. And also comment below, let me know what you think of the custom firmware, and also the fact that Super Mario Kart didn't exactly run very well. Let me know if you've had problems like this on your devices. And while I'm at it, I might as well also mention about the Unofficial Anbernic Facebook group. As you know, there's myself and a bunch of other guys. We're all part of it. And if you're interested in maybe getting an emulation device, or you have one, or you want advice on what to get, what firmware to put on, etc., etc., head on over there, join the group, and ask away. One of us will answer you. Or if you just want to go over there and talk to like-minded people, there's more and more people joining by the day, so it's growing very quickly. So if that's something that interests you, join the group, get involved. Right, so all there is left to say is take care, stay safe, Nerdy Geezer out.